मांगे सब कुछ है पाया, क्या मांगू फरियाद में। तू ही समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में।
Om Shanti, Jayanti. Welcome. So this just shows the power of social media. The afternoon went out, the message went out in the afternoon about 12 o'clock. And we have at least 500 and about 100 waiting. Plus we have a YouTube going now. So the YouTube, again, we will post on the chat. You can pass it to your friends. And Sister Jayanti had offered to give us 30 minutes. Maybe she might extend that a few minutes more, given the number of people and the interest. So Jayanti, I'll let you begin, and then maybe we can ask a couple of questions. Thank you so much. You need to unmute. Rajesh Bhai, can you unmute? No, still. Atma, you need to unmute. One second.
Okay. Om Shanti. Thank you, Arunaben, for having the thought to make this happen. And yes, I can see that it's generated a huge amount of interest. And I think it's because A, the language is a little bit different, and B, the full Murli is a Murli based on the Dharna, on the practical application of Baba's knowledge. And we checked with Madhuban, and yes, this is a Murli from early days in Karachi, when Shiv Baba would come in through a human trance medium whose name was Pushpa. They called her Pushpa, flower. And that roles lasted for maybe about a year or so. And this would have been probably in the early 40s. And maybe it was the end of the 30s. In India, specific dates are not so important. And especially at that time, in the early days of the Yagya, nobody considered that specific dates were that significant. But the Murlis of that time were the Murlis that were really dharana, and the knowledge that was coming from Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba was, of course, Baba's actual teachings. And so you can see that when we hear the Avyakt Murlis, that also is a lot of focus on dharana, practical life. And many people enjoy those a huge amount. Some people enjoy the Sakar Murlis more. We enjoy both, of course, but also because the Sakar Murlis are very practical and give you very practical information and details of how to deal with practical situations. And these Murlis that are dharana based are very beautiful to hear. And this one was definitely the same. And so I can see this is why there's this great interest. But it's wonderful to see how the dharana that was being taught at that time is still the dharana that we need to inculcate at this moment. So for me, one of the interesting things is when people say, have things changed in your teachings? And what has happened is that the clarity of information about the knowledge has happened gradually through the years. So it hasn't changed, but it's developed and evolved. But the dharana is very much absolutely as it was stated in the beginning, and so now at the end. And so Baba's beginning, one more thing before I take up the actual Murli. The word Piyu is the beloved one. And so this is the name that was given to Shiv Baba, the being who came in to this trance messenger who was just about 14 years old. And the first point that Baba's taking up is the whole subject of introversion, antarmukta, to be able to look within, to go inwards, to go inside. And of course, Baba's reminding us that it's only through the stage of introspection and introversion that we're going to be able to have that state of stability. I'm going to be able to have humility and sweetness. And so that was true then, but that's absolutely true today also. And where we see that there's fluctuation in moods, fluctuation in the mind, fluctuation in the stage in which sometimes old sanskars pop up, well, this is because there hasn't been enough attention given to the first subject, that of turning inwards, of soul consciousness and introversion. And so even today, it's a reminder, a powerful lesson for all of us. To what extent am I soul conscious? Am I able to turn inwards and stay within? And if I do this, I'll see the results of that for myself. Others will also see the transformation. But most of all, I'll be able to see this for myself. And Baba's also spoken a couple of times about the power of hearing the Murli within the gathering. But Baba's also mentioned the consciousness with which I need to listen to Baba. And that consciousness Baba has described as being Gyan Swarup, being the embodiment of knowledge, having that awareness of who I am and who it is who is speaking to me. And if I maintain that awareness, and you can see how awareness slips so quickly from one thing to another, that if I maintain this awareness of who I am, the being within, listening to God, then in that stage, I'll absorb that knowledge within myself. And then towards the end of the Murli, Baba said, as you do this, you'll automatically become the embodiment of peace. You won't have to try and become peaceful, but just in that awareness that this is God speaking to the soul, then in that vibration, I'll be able to go deep inside and become completely peaceful and calm. And that vibration is going to impact the gathering around me also. so that others around me also become very calm and peaceful. But of course, the other side of the picture is also true. If my mind is racing here and there and doing other things, you can't multitask while you're hearing the Murli. Murli is meant to be total focus and concentration in the right awareness and consciousness. And so, especially during times when we have webcasts and Zoom and Skype and all sorts of different media through which we are listening to Murli, I'm ironing at the same time. Well, that's fine if I'm going to revise the Murli or revise classes or something. But first thing in the morning, which is my study time, my class time, I have to treat it seriously. I am a student hearing God's Murli. Baba was very explicit that if you do this, then these words are the great versions and they'll have an impact on you. Otherwise, if your mind is scattered here and there, even whilst hearing the Murli, it's not the Murli that influences you, it's Maya's influence, the shadow, Baba mentioned, the shadow that's working on you. And so important to be aware who I am and who I'm listening to. And then Baba spoke about correction a great deal and how if I'm to support somebody else and help another, let it be, yes, with that sweetness, with that love, and let me mention whatever it is that needs correction. But also, let me share good vibrations, powerful, positive vibrations of yoga to support them in that transformation. Otherwise, just saying a word here and there, this is what you need to do, or why aren't you doing this or that? Well, A, it's not done very sweetly, but A, let me do it sweetly, and B, let me also support them on that journey by sharing good vibrations and yoga with them. Baba said this is then a sign of true love, that you're wanting to help another to move forward and progress. And Baba made a very interesting point. And the gardener sees that there's a flower within the thorns. The gardener is going to try and move that flower out of the weeds and thorns and put it in a place where it can be nurtured and sustained and taken care of. And so if somebody's giving me correction, instead of my reacting, why are they saying this to me? Maybe they're making a mistake. Maybe it's their ego, but I'm not like that. Baba showed us a very different awareness and attitude. Let me be grateful to the one who's giving me correction, because they're doing it out of love, that they want to help me progress and they want to help me move forward. And if I accept it, it's an indication of Vishal Buddhi, a subtle intellect that's able to understand the significance of things and understand that this is for my benefit. And when I accept that with love, with humility, with grace, with dignity, with sweetness, then I'm going to be able to transform. I'll realize, and that accepting correction will help me change also. And so the whole thing about correction, where we reject correction, or we think it's, well, anyway, it was their fault, they shouldn't be talking to me like this. We make all sorts of excuses, and we don't have that Vishal Buddhi, that subtle intellect with which to recognize that correction is for love for me, to help me transform. Baba's using this one as an instrument. Baba's not going to come and whisper in my ear. Baba's telling me in the Murli, but okay, I didn't listen. And so now let me listen to the signal. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter, but let me be able to hear them. And through that then, correct myself and be able to change myself. Baba also spoke a lot about patience. It was very interesting because people don't always see patience as a virtue. if somebody is being patient, they'll say, you know, they're taking their time. Why are they so slow? But no, Baba used an expression that Daddy Janki often used. She would say, wait and see. I remember when we were thinking about who was going to be the staff in Global House. We were all scattered in little houses around, but who was going to be there? We didn't know. And Daddy would say, wait and see. And the right things happened, of course. The right people came along. And then with the retreat center, again in 1993, who's going to be there? Daddy said, wait and see. And of course, again, the right thing happened at that time. And so today we're thinking about new teams at GRC. Again, same story. And I'm remembering Daddy's mantra, wait and see. So it was very lovely to hear it in Baba's Murli today. Patience means wait and see. And Baba defined it in a very, very interesting way. Wait is patience, just stay. It's okay. You don't need to rush. You don't need to hurry. Just wait. And then see. But see things as the observer. And if I'm patient, I'm more likely to have the observer stage to be able to see things clearly. And then Baba said, if you're the observer, then you'll also be able to understand the significance of why things are happening the way that they are. Impatience, and I'm never going to be able to understand the significance of anything. Patience, then being the observer, and then in that awareness of being the observer, then I'm going to be able to see what needs to happen and how to do it, but also maybe not immediately, it's okay. I don't need to have all answers today, but at the right moment, then I'll be able to see the significance of the drama and be able to respond to that in an appropriate manner. Baba spoke a lot about faith and how you need to have faith. And when you do have faith, Baba used a lovely expression, in every vein of yours, in every vein, there's going to be strength, and there's also going to be the power of godly attraction. And Baba compared it to a little child, and how if there's a little child who's smiling, then there's an attraction and everybody is drawn to that one. And so when there's anger, somebody is angry. Now, what is my response to that? Am I able to stay cool and calm and innocent and free like the little child and not get upset and not react to that? But rather, when I see that someone is angry, what I need to do is really in that state of detachment, then be able to make them cool again. My vibrations of stillness and calm are going to be able to remind them. Baba used a lovely expression here that when someone is angry, they're in a state of vismriti, unawareness. They're not aware of the self, they're not aware of God, they're not aware of drama, they're not aware, full stop. But when they actually come into the presence of someone who's calm and cool, that's going to awaken awareness within them, and they'll change from unawareness to awareness. And when they do this, then in that state of awareness, they also will calm down. And so very practical steps about that. But also the faith in the drama. Whatever is happening within the drama is right according to the drama. If I say somebody is wrong, not true. Why? Because they're playing the role that is their role in the drama. And so according to the drama, even that which is wrong is actually right. It sounds a bit crazy, but yes, be detached, be the observer of the drama. And then you won't say, they shouldn't do like this, they did like this, I like them, I don't like them because they did it like this and that was wrong. No, I'm wrong. Within the drama, whatever it is that is happening is right. And so faith in the drama also. And if I learn to have faith in the drama, I'm going to be able to maintain that stage in which I can be a detached observer. And in that state of being a detached observer, I'll be able to have inner joy within myself continually. Otherwise, my own stage gets shaken, and in confusion, these special days of Sangam Yug go by, and I'm not able to prepare myself for what is to come. Baba said, even at that time, that you have to rehearse all of these things. If you don't rehearse them, they're not going to be there in your life. And if you rehearse them when things are relatively calm and smooth, and yes, I know we've all been through COVID, we've been through several lockdowns, maybe some places are still in lockdown, and some places there's a new lockdown that started now. So different stages of COVID, but whichever stage it is you and the country are going through, it's the drama and there's significance within the drama, and it's right within the drama. So let me know internally inside that it's right and things are moving now. Drama is not moving like a louse anymore. Drama is moving very fast. And we know that even if we haven't rehearsed all of these things up until now, if I don't rehearse, I won't be ready. I really won't. But if I practice now, I rehearse all of this today, I'm creating that stable stage which is going to support me when things go chaotic and traumatic, and Baba wants us to play a very different role of serving others as God's angels and God's messengers at that time. And so see the drama, but whatever is the part that is being played is right. Baba used a very interesting word, drama vafadar. Drama is faithful, drama is loyal. And that's because drama is precise and accurate. Nothing up and down within the drama. Everything is absolutely straight and correct. And so let me understand it in that way and be the detached observer so that then I can keep smiling. Baba spoke about illness and being able to be the detached observer of myself at that time. Because it's very interesting, illness comes and there can be two possibilities. I can settle the karma of the past, and I can also create good karma for the future through my stage and my awareness. Am I able to do that? Am I able to be so detached during a period of illness that I can watch myself and detach myself from that illness? And as I watch, can I also then settle the things, the accounts of the past easily without changing my state of happiness and well-being? And also then through my stage, uplift others and give inspiration to others and upliftment to others and encouragement to others, not waiting for others to come to me to inspire me and uplift me, but to be able to serve them and help them and carry them forward also. So Baba spoke about another situation in which maybe my stage is not stable. Baba's reminding me again and again, that stage of going inwards and then being able to look at myself is going to help me maintain happiness and even bliss. And through that, I'm preparing for the beautiful future that lies ahead of me. If I'm not ready with a beautiful smile, how can I be that image in the temple? Baba spoke about the mind being the temple and the heart being the temple. And within that temple, that being that I am I decorating myself with all the divine virtues? And if I am, then yes, truly there'll be the fragrance of those qualities. And if I'm not preparing myself with those virtues, what am I doing? It's the time when God has created this imperishable yagya, the sacrificial fire, in which I have said, and I think most of us who are watching now, many of you, I know you, some of you I don't, but most of you, I think, would have said to Baba, Baba, I belong to you, which means I surrender my mind, my body, my wealth to you. I die a living death so that I can have life for eternity, immortality. And so what's going on? When my mind is clean and pure, yes, that is my surrender to God. And God's mind is completely pure, forever and ever and ever, completely clean and peaceful. And so if I want to connect with God, my mind has to be the same, very clean and pure. And if I'm allowing waste thoughts to come in, or worse, negative thoughts to come in, I can't connect with God. God is very, very far away from me because God is the one who's eternally pure. And so what's going to happen then? Again, Baba used a very interesting expression. Baba said, Maya is going to come and ride the horse of your mind. And Maya is very clever in adopting many different forms. And Maya is going to keep moving you from one thing to another thing to another thing. And so either you choose to surrender your mind to God and have only good, pure, elevated thoughts in which you're able to come close to God, or you let your mind be controlled by Maya. And Maya will play many games to attract your mind to herself. And in that state, it's going to be a very, very difficult situation to regain control of your own mind and to link it to God. But if I remember that my surrender is to God, and most of all, the surrender is the surrender of the mind. My body can be sitting in one place, and I can say, yes, Baba, I belong to you. I can use my wealth very easily for God's work, but am I ready to surrender my mind to God? And if I do that, then yes, God will bless me with a mind that's beautiful and powerful and a stage that's going to be so able to withstand whatever other scenes of drama that come in front of me in this last period of Sangam Yuga, that I'll be able to rise above it all. And Baba's last point was about Amrit Vela, early in the morning. At that time, I can be Upram, above everything else. Why? Because my day's timetable hasn't yet begun. The pressures of the world haven't started to reach me. The vibrations of the world are also very quiet. And so in that Upram stage, I can keep my mind focused on my aim. And as I connect the yoga of my intellect accurately with God, my mind is going to come into that state that Baba described as nirsankalp, a mind that's still, a mind that's lost in God's love without having to raise any further thoughts, but just lost in that experience of God's love. And so today's Murli was a very powerful, very beautiful one, totally focused on dharana and what it is we need to do at this moment. Actually, it was another very interesting paragraph that Baba spoke. And I was talking to somebody today, and I don't know how many young people are listening, but it's fine if they are. But it's actually something for parents in particular. And this parent was saying to me, but we've given so much love to our young one, and the young one is now an adult, but that one is now a little bit off track at the moment. And the father said, we've tried giving love, but somehow this person's still off track. And I reminded them, did you read this morning's Murli? Did you hear it? And they said, yes. And of course, Baba's talking about how Gyan comes first, and then comes love. And God is complete in Gyan, and God is also complete in love. Both those qualities equally. But still, first is Gyan. Why? Because with Gyan, you'll be able to recognize what are the forms of Maya that are coming, eliminate those, conquer those, and come to the state of pure love. If you keep love first, then Maya can still deceive you. You won't be able to recognize where it is Maya is taking you off into a spin and away from God. And so Maya can come in the form of love very easily, and love can become a little bit mixed, not just pure godly love, but it can be other things too. And so Gyan first, and then equally the power of love. And when you have both, then yes, you're like the Father, Bab Saman, equal to the Father. But it's always Gyan first. And of course, then Baba went on to talk about Gyan being more important than Dhyan, trance. And in that state, of course, we know that Baba's often talked about it in other Murlis that when there's only the interest in trance, then it's fun and games, but it's not really the power that you need from God through yoga, and not the clear understanding that you need to conquer Maya. So Jnani is more important than Dhyani, the one who's able to go into trance. And so Baba mentioning through the Murli again, that it is with Gyan that you're able to conquer lust and anger and greed and arrogance, all of these things, and develop all the divine virtues. And so Baba wants to make us complete. Baba wants to make us perfect. And so I think that's the sort of things that I've been thinking about from today's Murli, how relevant it is to us today. But the starting point, the introversion, but then all the other things that Baba reminds us of. The surrender of the mind, the desire to become what Baba wants me to be, the flower, and to be able to radiate that fragrance and that beauty to all. A few times Baba said, keep your aim in your awareness. And that also is a very important factor, because if I don't keep my aim, it's very easy to get distracted by other things, and I'll go off track, and it'll take me a long time to come back on track. So let me keep my aim. What am I here for? Why did I come to Baba? So what is my aim? And Baba's talking about perfection and the Karmatit stage, not about the gold and the jewels of the golden age. That's not the aim. The aim is actually the qualifications. Lakshya, aim, lakshan, qualifications, qualities. And so let me be able to keep Baba, soul consciousness, and my aim in front of me, and I'll get there. So those are my thoughts.
And gentlemen, also introversion. Baba talked about being introverted, being patient,
Yeah.
humble. And one of the questions I had was, Baba was saying, have a completely knowledgeful state. So maybe something on that.
Introversion, yes, that was Baba's starting point. And so is my attention outside or is my attention inside? You know, Dad used to say, I spend 90% of my time inside and only 10% of my attention is outside. And you see what Daddy was able to achieve. And so if my attention is outside, I don't have capacity, I don't have power. But if my attention is inside, then I'm generating that awareness, that energy with which I can bring about transformation within myself. And I'm not distracted by what other people are doing and what's going on. So introversion is very, very important. And it's, Baba was linking introversion with that stage of being able to hear Baba's Murli, know who it is speaking, and to be able to absorb it within myself. And so Gyani stage at that point is really knowing, who am I? Am I the soul listening with concentration? And who am I listening to? Am I in this awareness of listening to God speaking through his instrument? And so that Gyani stage with which I listen to the Murli is the one in which that's going to help me absorb it and be it, become that.
Right, thank you, Jayanti. Well, we have about 1250 people on YouTube and we have 500 on Zoom. So can you just tell me, are you able to give us 15 more minutes?
Yes.
Till 8? Okay, okay. So we can have one or two questions from Zoom, but also my other question was, Jayanti, divine service. So children, be cautious and also do this divine service. And I know Baba said one is service and the other is divine service. But again, in your experience, your words, what is the difference?
In the context that Baba was speaking today, because you can think about divine service in many ways, but in the context in which Baba is speaking today, what Baba is saying is, let me be able to help another one progress, which means putting others in front of me, not having the thought that, well, I'm moving ahead anyway, let each one struggle in the way they want to, or whatever, or, you know, looking at another and seeing their weakness and thinking, well, that's their drama, what can I do about it? But no, to have compassion and to be able to then say, with love, maybe this is something you can give attention to, but also then to support them with your good wishes and your yoga power. And I know that that's a very, very elevated stage of service, but this is the service that Mama did. This is the service that the Dadis have done. If you think about Dadi Janki, and most of us know Dadi Janki better than we know the other Dadis, but it was true for all the Dadis. If Dadi gave you correction, she would also support you with her good wishes. She wouldn't hold it against you that you have this weakness or you've made this mistake, but she would want you to progress and help you move forward. She would even sometimes arrange for a specific situation in which you could have extra help for whatever it is that was needed. And so, and I know for Mama again, Mama would say to somebody, purity is important, and they would change. They wouldn't just debate it with her, they wouldn't discuss it with her, but they would change. They would accept that yes, purity is important. And Mama would give them her good vibrations and her yoga power so that they could have the strength to be able to do that. You know, there's the Avyakt Murli from Sunday where again Baba's talking about the same thing, that share your yoga power with souls who are weak, who can't do the things that they know they should. And if you give them that yoga power and that support, it'll help them take a jump. And so this Murli from way back, same thing. give support and help to another. And Baba's talking about Brahmins, because sometimes we find it very easy to help people out there. But because we know each other within a center or within a small group at the center, the students and the teachers, we know each other very, very well. And so there's an imprint that's left in our heart, which is difficult to erase, of some mistake they've made. And Baba's saying, no, don't keep that in your heart, but rather give them your good wishes, give them your yoga power to help them move forward.
Thank you, Jayanti. I'm going to take a few questions from Zoom. There was a question about, when Baba speaks in English, well, it's translated as serviceable, when a soul is serviceable. And so this person is saying that, is it accurate translation from Hindi? We often translate it as one who has much spirit to do service, or the one who has the ability to do service.
Baba actually very often uses this English word, serviceable. Within the Hindi Murli, the word serviceable comes up with that English language. And so Baba's talking about somebody who has capacity, somebody who has enthusiasm, somebody who's willing to actually go out there and have the courage to do something, be creative. So it's encompassed within that one word, serviceable. And Baba means all of that, the one who has a spirit, but also the one who has the capacity and the qualities with which to be able to serve. Yeah.
Okay.
There are certain words that Baba usually uses in English very often. And so like when Baba's talking about religion and history and geography, Baba uses those English words.
Okay, and then gentlemen, as Baba said today, don't take service from others.
Again, it was in that context where it was correction. And if somebody gives me a signal, I accept it with grace, recognizing that it's for my benefit, it's real love, divine service, it's wanting to give me help. And if I do this and I change, then I won't need to take further service from another. Otherwise, if I keep making mistakes, I'll continue to take support and help from others along my journey, and I'm not able to stand on my own feet. And this is not, what Baba's saying is, yes, one signal should be enough, not that I repeat mistakes and I continue to make mistakes and I depend on others to help me and support me at that time. So it was in that context, my attention also went on those particular words. So I read it again, and that's what Baba actually means.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to club three questions together here because they're similar. So one is, how can we get better controlling power, means over our waste thoughts? And the other was, if somebody has a very strong migraine, then it's very difficult to remain positive. So I feel that's also connected with thoughts and the mind. And then thirdly, regarding the pandemic now, any positive thoughts to relax people from anxiety?
I want to take up the migraine one first. I know that I've had little headaches and sometimes a headache that's lasted a few hours, but I know the suffering that people go through when they actually have a migraine. And I don't think medical science or anything else has been able to help them understand how to shift that. But one practice that a person who did suffer with migraines told me about that helps her manage is to be soul conscious. You're not having waste thoughts, you're not having anything else, you're not even actually having yoga with God in that sense of actual connection, but just going deep inside. I mean, you feel your head pounding. What can you do? You're not really capable of doing very much externally, but just to go deeper and deeper inside and connect with that pure silence which is within. And so that's one practice that I'm told helps enormously. And to be able to control my thoughts, everything is a question of practice. Simple things, it's practice. Complicated things, it's practice. You know that in your own lives. And when it comes to spiritual practice, that's absolutely relevant. And so, very simple practice to start controlling my thoughts is using the expressions that Baba uses in the Sakar Murlis and tells me, think about this, reflect on this, and that is yoga. And so, I'm a soul. I'm a peaceful soul. I'm a pure soul. Can I hold this thought in my mind for a moment? Can I go deeper inside and say, next thing, I'm a child of God? And can I think about God's praise, the unlimited one, the ocean, whatever virtues I can think about? It's a gradual training of my mind to have those pure, elevated thoughts, firstly for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, for however long I can sit in yoga. And then through the day, traffic control is a very good system, and it's every hour now. And so find a mechanism to remind you to stop for a few moments every hour and check, can I go back to those pure thoughts? And that practice is the practice of learning to have control over your mind. And through that, you'll be able to manage other things that get in the way. And so when Baba's saying practice soul consciousness all the time, traffic control is a time to check, to what extent was I soul conscious? And can I bring my mind back to soul consciousness? There's work to be done, and I'm going to do my work. I'm not going to ignore it, but can I be soul conscious as I do it? And this type of practice, you see, when there's negative thoughts coming to say, stop, 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 they're like a steamroller and they just come rushing through. But my practice of soul consciousness and training my mind to focus and concentrate and connect with God gives me the capacity, the power to change the direction and quality of my thinking, so I'm able to start controlling waste things. COVID, if I'm afraid, it actually reduces my immunity. And worry, anxiety leads to fear. And so the last thing I should be doing is reducing my immunity. I should actually be enhancing my immunity. And so positive thoughts, pure thoughts will enhance my immunity. But also, not just negative thoughts, that's one thing, but also care and attention. Why should I go to a place that I know is going to be crowded? I know that, yes, the shops are open, but I managed in a simple way for 14 months. Can I not carry on for another little while? Do I need to go shopping for this thing, that thing, and the other thing, and the other thing? Essentials, fine. But today it's now, shops are open, non-essential shops are open in the UK. And so people are rushing to go buy this, that, and the other. But okay, let me be careful. Travel, again, only if it's essential, if I need to go to work and I can't work from home. But can I go a bit earlier or can I go a bit later? Different timings so that I'm not in the rush hour. So simple things like this, which mean that I don't know who I'm going to be coming into contact with. And so I just have to be careful and protect myself and keep myself in a safe environment. Worrying about anything doesn't stop something. I know a person who was very worried about COVID, and then COVID entered her household, and it was part of her immediate family because they were out there mixing with others and they brought it home. So worrying doesn't change things. It does not help. It, in fact, it harms. And so let me think about the things Baba has told me. I say I don't have time to churn. Well, how come I have time to worry? And so what's going on in here is going to be either worry or it's gyan, it's churning. It's either manan or it's chinta. Manan chintan is churning and using the mind in the right way, and chinta is worry. So I can choose one or the other.
Lovely point to end on, Jayanti. There are several questions, but we will stop here. And thank you so much for accepting and having faith in us.
Well, I'm glad it all worked out.
And last minute, luckily, our team here could get the YouTube going. So that was great.
Good.
I just want to say, many are asking, we will put it up on a YouTube channel called Swadershan channel, which we have just started, and we will be uploading lots of BK classes there. As you know, we have a BK face and a Lokik face. So all the BK classes will go under Swadershan YouTube channel. The link is there in the chat. And also I want to say that on Saturday, Sister Jayanti will be, it's a public program, okay? So please encourage your public. I know all of you already know about the benefits of 4 a.m. But again, I suggest that you join the YouTube and maybe let others join Zoom, but that's on Saturday, this coming Saturday, 17th, 3 p.m. London summertime. So you can calculate your own times through that. So gentlemen, we'll just end with a couple of minutes of meditation. Once again, thank you so much. Maybe we have started a trend and we'll keep you more busy with Murli revisions. But it was lovely to get some, more up-to-date info on today's Murli. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone. And all the technical teams everywhere, thank you.
Actually, yes, there's also translation in Spanish. There's also translation in Hindi. So there are a lot more people.
Good.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody, thank you. Good night. We'll just have meditation.